This one is a good one. The call from Cardo this week. There's been a few rule changes. RV Sam Fox, one of our listeners, asks thoughts on the new Supercross qualifying format versus previous free practice. There's no practice session, no free practice session like the warm up 12-minute qualifying. Do you like this new rule change?
So I think that, you can look at it two different ways. I've kind of heard some people complain about it or be like, oh man, this is, maybe, less time on the track. Ultimately, I think where it's going to play into a factor is like jumping on the motorcycle and getting out on the track and I guess narrowing down what your potential changes could be for your time qualifying sessions. So now we go straight into time qualifying and you only have 2. So I think it would have worked great into my scenario because, I seem to learn the track fairly quick. I wouldn't typically make a ton of changes. If I needed to make big changes, it didn't play a factor into my mental side of it. It was like, okay, we're making changes. Fine. Let's make changes and let's go racing. But I think having no free practice, let's call it, that makes these guys, I think it potentially could make the racing better, if that makes sense. And why I think that is just because it's a little less time on the track. It's less time for these guys to like really work it all out and get to where they're like super comfortable. Don't get me wrong. They're comfortable when they go to the line to go race the heat race. But it makes them have to think quicker. It makes the teams have to think quicker. Overall, I don't think it changes the daily schedule. I don't think it changes the outcome at the end of the night. If anything, obviously Feld's going to get a little more track time. I think that could potentially help the tracks. Obviously, we see the tracks majorly break down last year, depending on some of the dirts that we go to, if it's soft, the ruts, things like that. If I was a current racer, I'd be like, hey, get the skid steer on the track at least one more time so that the track is, call it safer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes 100% sense. And to kind of expand on what you're talking about, to Sam's question, RV, I like the change for a couple of reasons, just like you talked about, to give them a little bit more time. Dirtworks track crew, SMX track crew, sorry. That'll be helpful. Not a whole lot of time, but a little time is better than no time. I like what you talked about, how these riders have these tracks dialed in no time, right? And with how time qualifying practice is anymore, I don't even think it's practice. I just think it's a straight up qualifying session. It's how fast they can go. It's like when you and I were racing, it wasn't as important. We used it as practice and an evaluation. I most certainly did. I was doing, and you were doing like 15, 16 laps in your practice session. Now they do 8, right? And 8 fast laps. So I like it because they're not on the track as much, and it's not an opportunity for them to hurt themselves because they're already going to have the track dialed in. And then when you watch these guys, like they're going so fast and they're asking so much out of that track and out of that bike that, the percentage chance of them hurting themselves is so high. Luckily, it doesn't happen that often, but I just think it takes that chance and lowers it. And that's what we need, and from a safety standpoint, because the time that they're not going to get, that's not going to affect them. I think it's, less time. We'll hopefully have less injuries because they won't be absolutely sending it looking for that magical lap. So I'm all for it.
Slows them down, right? Or maybe there's no quad that gets pulled out because, they didn't have that free practice, and maybe they were eyeing it up in free practice and then didn't get it done in the first time qualifying. But then session 3, they end up, pulling out this quad or whatever. Now they only have 2 sessions to go out there and just get their fast race line down.
Bingo.
Yep.
100%. Great. Great question, Sam. Looks like we got definitely RV and I are on the same page. I think a lot of people are as well, from what I'm hearing inside the paddock area.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports. If you enjoyed what you just watched, well, it's time to bring the action and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel. You can have it all: news, highlights, interviews, and analysis. So go for it.